Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Em and welcome to this reading vlog. So I'm gonna be super duper honest. I have to leave to get my youngest from school in 5 minutes, so that's how long we have to intro this video. But it is a long weekend here. MLK Day is on Monday. And I thought it'd be fun to just do like a cozy little reading vlog. I also recently joined Jan Agaton's Patreon, and this weekend is a readathon for her Patreon. So I thought it would just kind of be fun to like lump these two things together and also try to catch up on some of my TBR so that my ketchup and pickles vlog at the end of the month isn't all catching up. Because that's not the life I want for me. So for the reading plans this weekend, first book I'm going to tell you about, I am not going to be finishing in this video, but I am rereading Nona the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir, and this is kind of like my all month long readathon reading project because I'm listening to a few chapters at a time or listening to the episode from the Locked Tomb podcast that goes along with the section I just read. I don't even know if you can see like all my tabs I have in here so far, but like it's going great. It's my first time rereading Nona. So again, this is a super slow reread for me, but I'm just reading it. I've actually been kind of ignoring it because I've been doing Winter Ween for the last week. If you want to check out that vlog, I will link it down below. But I definitely have missed it, and I want to at least read enough this weekend that I can listen to the next podcast episode. And then I also have Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by mcguire. This is the latest installment in the Wayward Children series. I have my copy that I pre-ordered, and then I also have the audiobook that I was sent to by Macmillan, and so I would really like to read this weekend because I don't like to let these sit on my shelf for too long. It's 135 pages. I'm not sure who we're following in this one, but I love this series, and it'll just be a nice, easy, comforting book to read. Also, I'm doing the Betty Pages Challenge Your Shelf reading challenge again this year. I participated last year. The theme this year is dystopian novels are so 2025. And for this month, I picked Animal Farm by George Orwell for my read, which I've never read. And I'll link Betty Pages website down below if you're interested in participating. They put it up on Storygraph, and that's where I follow along, but there's a different theme every year, and then for each month they pick multiple titles that fit into the theme. And for this one, there's a dystopian choice, classic dystopian, and then a more modern day dystopian. There's a nonfiction choice, there's usually YA, middle grade, and then a kid's picture book. And so obviously Animal Farm is the dystopian choice. I also have the nonfiction book, but I don't think I'm going to read it this weekend, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the other one I want to start is, well, I technically already started it, but I want to read Thief, Liar, Lady by D.L. Soria. This is my pick for the Buzzword Reading Challenge. We have to pick a book with either liar, lies, or truth, true in the title. And I had this audiobook on Libro, and I was trying to decide between this and An Academy of Liars, and so I listened to the first chapter of both of them on audio, and I did not care for Academy for Liars at all. So this is the one I'm going with. But I got the physical copy because I need to at least generally start a book physically before I can rely on the audiobook. And I just haven't had a lot of audiobook time lately, but I'm unsure how I'm gonna like this because typically Cinderella retellings are like my least favorite retellings, fairy tale retellings. The tagline says, "Happily ever after is a total scam, but at least this time the princess is controlling the grift until her true love arrives and threatens to ruin the whole scheme." So I'm hoping this will be good and maybe like break my track record with Cinderella retellings. So yeah, that's kind of my tentative TBR for the weekend. Of course, I could always go rogue because I love to do that. But I'm hoping for a super cozy weekend. We don't have a ton of plans, And the ones that we do have are like my youngest has been invited to a couple of birthday parties, so they're plans that don't require a lot of input from me. I also feel like I'm starting to come down with a cold, so I'm just hoping for like a cozy, chill, relaxing 3-day weekend. Fingers crossed for me that goal is attained. But for now, I'm gonna go get my youngest and come home for our like post-school routine, and then hopefully this evening I'll be ready to snuggle down, and I'll probably try to read my chapters of Nona because I have really missed reading that. Good morning, it's Saturday. Last night did not go as planned. I have a cold, and did I mention this in my intro? I honestly cannot remember. I need to go back and watch my intro and see what the heck I talked about other than the books. I have a cold, which is not a big deal during the daytime, but the last 2 nights, like once it hits 4 o'clock, I feel like I have the flu, and it's not good. I don't have a temperature, but I have like all the symptoms, so I tanked hard yesterday. So I did not end up listening to any of Nona. We watched Paddington instead because that's one of my favorite kids movies, and I went to bed very early, so didn't really do any reading last night. But this morning I woke up a little earlier than I anticipated because the cat decided to be a menace, and I've since read a little bit in 2 things. So I'm 2 chapters into Animal Farm, and I don't know that I have a lot of thoughts. I don't know a ton about this book other than that it's dystopian, and I will say so far 2 chapters in, I think the animals have a point. Humans are kind of the worst. I don't think the animals are going to do much better than the humans based off of like the little I know of this book. So, you know, it's a fun journey for me to go on. And then I'm on chapter 5 in Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, and I listened to the first 4 chapters on audio because Macmillan sent me the audiobook, and I really love the narrator, and I think we've met this character before, Nadia. I think she was in Beneath the Sugared Sky, which is book 3. I don't remember her at all. So this is basically like I'm meeting a totally new character, but this is going back to what the format we're kind of used to with this series, where we're meeting a child and we're following them through what their life was like before they find their door. And I'm enjoying it so much, which is nice because the last book, Mislaid in Parts Half Known, I didn't enjoy as much. It's not quite my least favorite. The horse book is still my least favorite, but I didn't, I think Mislaid in Parts Half Unknown is like my, is that it? No. What's the last one? That might be, there's too many books in this series. Yeah, okay, Mislaid in Parts Half Known, that was the last one. So that was like my second least favorite. So it's nice to be back to like a format that familiar with, that I find comforting in meeting Nadia. Nadia was born in Russia, and her mother gave her up, and so she spent the first little bit of her childhood in a state-run orphanage, and then she's adopted by American parents and brought to the States. And Nadia is born missing part of her right arm, and she's never felt that she's been lacking anything. She's never missed having an arm. She's never felt like she needed anything. You know, she's who she is, and not having part of her arm is a part of who she is. And then, but her American parents, of course, decide that she must be miserable without a full limb, and kind of force a prosthetic arm on her. And it causes Nadia to have it's not something that she wants, and they're not willing to listen to her, and that is what leads her to finding her door. So really love this. This is definitely a comfort series for me. I'm hoping to finish it today. And I'm loving the audiobook. I haven't read it at all with my eyeballs. I've just been on the audiobook so far. And then Animal Farm, my Kobo says if I read for an hour, I'll finish it. So that could happen today. I need to take, my youngest has auditions for our community theater later this morning, and I need to pick up a couple books from the library. And I think the book that I'm going to use for the coffin covers challenge is at the library right now, so I'll grab that and maybe throw that into the mix. Who knows? I'm not feeling really drawn to read The Flyer Lady, but I don't know what to read for the buzzword reading challenge instead, so I'll have to figure that out. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to go relax and drink my tea and read and ease into today. All right, we are home from auditions. We actually were home a while ago and they went good. Now we just wait to see if they got called back, which is always the worst part of doing theater. And I finished, in the time between coming home and now, I finished Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. I don't know what to rate this. Somewhere in the 4 range. I'm waffling between like a 4 and a 4.5. I really love like the drowned girls worlds, or the drowned children worlds. This world that Nadia goes to is an underwater world, or just not even underwater, but just like a water world. And I find the way Seanan mcguire imagined the world to be so creative and so cool, especially like with the water having different weights depending on where you are. Like, did I understand all of it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I really admire the creativity that goes into creating these worlds for these different characters to go to. I always find these books so bittersweet because I love the worlds, even the worlds that are a little more violent and a little harsher, though this was definitely like a more gentle world. I mean, no less brutal in terms of survival, but definitely like a softer world than world in book 2 that I can't remember what it's called, Down Among the Sticks and Bones. Like, definitely like a softer world than that one, but like surviving is hard. I think that's something that all these worlds have in common, is that surviving is hard, and the worlds reflect that. But yes, so I always really love the worlds and the creativity in them and the way these characters come to find themselves and embrace themselves. And then they always get pulled back at the end when it's a world book. And it's so sad because you just know that life going forward is going to be so hard for them and so uncomfortable. If you have never read this series before, I think you could definitely jump in here and be fine. If you have not read the series before, generally every other book is a world book and every other book is a quest book. So like book 1, Every Heart a Doorway, is kind of the introduction to this, where you meet Eleanor, who is a really prominent character. Seanan mcguire is establishing the concept in that book. But then Down Among the Sticks and Bones, that's a world book. That's one of my favorites. It's so good. Beneath the Sugar Sky is a quest book. It is typically people's least favorite. I really enjoyed it, but I really like the questy books for the most part. In an Absent Dream is a world book. Come Tumbling Down is a questy book. Across the Green Grass Fields is a world book. I don't love that one, but if you're a horse girl, you might. Where the Drowned Girls Go is a quest book, kind of. I love that one. I think that one is one of the best. Also, Lost in the Moment and Found is a world book, and I also think that one is one of the best, though it is definitely the heaviest. And then Mislaid in Parts Half Known is a quest book. And I would say, if you haven't read this series before, Lost in the Moment and Found and Mislaid in Parts Half Known are the 2 that you have to read together, because I don't know that Mislaid in Parts Half Known makes sense if you haven't read Lost in the Moment and Found. But generally, with the exception of those 2 books, you can kind of pop in wherever and be okay. I read this series out of order. I started with In an Absent Dream because there was a year where it was nominated for a Hugo, and I was reading all the Hugo nominations, and so I read it and I really loved it, and so then I went back and I started at the beginning of the series. So you really truly, with that one exception, can start wherever you want to in this. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I really liked it. I really love the world. I really liked Nadia. I don't think it's a favorite, but the favorites are 5 stars. So like a 4.5 is usually, it's a good, yeah. So I think 4.5. That feels right. Yay! Okay. I am debating going to the gym and not doing anything arduous, just like walking on the treadmill. And maybe bringing Animal Farm with me and reading while I'm on the treadmill. We'll see. I have some energy, and I feel like moving around a little bit would be a good idea, but I don't want to like overdo it. But also the youngest is supposed to go to a birthday party soon, and the twins and I are watching Arcane, 3rd time for me, 1st time for them, and we're on season 1, and I told them we could watch Arcane while the youngest was out of the house. So never mind, I don't think I have time to go to the gym. So I guess I'll just read a little bit more at home today, and then we'll be watching Arcane later. But yeah, so the goal for the rest of the day will be to read Animal Farm. I did go to the library, like I said I would, and I got my copy of How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. And I wasn't paying attention when I placed my hold, and I got the large print version, which honestly, I don't hate it. I don't hate how big that print is. I hate this cover though, especially compared to like the usual cover, but this is for the coffin cover challenge that Jan does on her Patreon. I started trying to read Hooked by Emily McIntyre and hated it. So I DNF'd. So we're gonna try this one instead for that and see if that one works. Now we're gonna read Animal Farm. Alright, this stunning angle is brought to you by me just getting home from the gym, which didn't make me feel better, but also didn't make me feel worse, which is really all I can ask. I just felt like I needed to move my body a little bit, so it wasn't like an aggressive workout. It was just like a let's move around and pick some things up and then put them down and then see how that goes. So I did that. I actually ended up going totally rogue and listening to the audiobook for A Deadly Education by Noami Novik. I'm rereading it for the 3rd time because I'm going to try, y'all, I've signed up for so many book clubs for this year. Oh, it's going to be a problem at some point, but this is January's pick for Solid State Bookstores SFF book club, which 2 of my Instagram friends run, and I'm always so jealous when I see the books that they're reading for that book club. And so I'm participating virtually, kind of, this year. And this is January's pick, and I really love book 1. I like the series overall, but I really love book 1. I've read this 3 times because I read it once and then didn't continue on in the series for 8 months and had forgotten everything. And so then read it again, finished the series, and now here I am again. But I really love book 1. I really love Elle, our main character in this book. She is so unapologetically rude, and I just absolutely eat it up. I do not love how atrociously long these chapters are, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, this is fun. If you're looking for like dark academia, where it's like the academia is trying to kill you, not your fellow students. So that's fun. I don't know what to do about Thief, Liar, Lady. I was looking on Libby at the gym to be like, what books have lie in the title? I'm going to look through some of the other words to see if I can find something that I want to read. Because that's really, so many of them are thrillers. So many thrillers have lie or liar in the title. I guess I could look for truth or true and see what pops up. I'm worried true is going to get me nonfiction. Or nonfiction I'm not interested in, but you never know. I just need to find something because I am not compelled to pick up Thief, Liar, Lady. But right now, I need to go start making dinner. This is what we're having tonight. It's out of this well-plated everyday cookbook that I got because Kelsey goes by Essentially Booked on YouTube and on Instagram. She recommended this cookbook a while ago, and I've been on hold for it for a really long time. Probably only my husband and I are going to eat this, though, because the kids won't touch chili with a 10-foot pole, but it's so cold. It was so cold today, and so it seems like a good pick. I'm probably not going to listen to anything while I cook. I'll probably go snag the iPad and watch YouTube, because that feels like what I have the brain space for right now. I did not read any Animal Farm at all today, but I'll get to it. It'll be fine. I'm going to finish this bite of garlic bread and go make dinner. All right, I'm settled down. We've had dinner. It was delicious. I'm reading Animal Farm. And my thought right now is that I hate that the only girl animal is so stupid. So stupid. Which is like why I don't really read classic sci-fi or fantasy or dystopian or whatever written by men, because women are never written great. And even though like this is a horse, she's so vapid, and I'm worried she's going to become like a piggy situation, like from Lord of the Flies. Okay, look, in my defense, I was awake for 2 hours before I got back in bed. But it's so comfortable, and it's so cold today, and I decided today is my like proper hibernation day, because this readathon is like a hibernation readathon, and I'm not getting in the car today. I might go for a walk. I might walk to the coffee shop that's by me and get coffee later, depending on how I feel. But my husband and my youngest just went to get donuts. And yeah, I'm just not going to get in the car today. I did finish Animal Farm last night, and I'm giving it 4 stars. Obviously, Orwell was responding to communism and Stalin and things like that, but I think at the end of the day, it really is more just about how power corrupts, and even things that are started with good intentions, if you give one person or allow one person to amass too much power, it's, you know, it's the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I also think it's really a testament to how, like, communism and socialism and all the different isms, the ideas are good, and I think with the right intentions that those could maybe be successful, but I think at the end of the day, capitalism is too powerful and too corruptive, and everything just ends up reverting back to capitalism because people in power just want more and more and more. I'm really glad nothing happened to Molly. I was wrong, she wasn't the only girl animal. She's definitely the silliest, but I'm so glad she escaped and nothing bad happened to her, because even though she was silly, I can see why that book is taught in high school. I would be interested to like sit in on a classroom discussion of that book. I think that would be really interesting to hear like what teens think of it versus what like a group of adult readers think of it. I did start How to Stop Time, my little large print edition, last night because of the clock on the wall. For the clock on the cover, for the coffin covers challenge for Jan's book club, and my little like large print edition. And I think so far I'm not super into it. It's kind of like Addie LaRue, but I think Addie LaRue is better written, where our main character Tom, he's not immortal, but he's aging so slowly. So he's only like, he looks like he's 41, but he's actually like 200, 300 years old, because his body ages like 1 year for every like 15 calendar years. It just reads like somebody who really wanted a bunch of quotes to be able to put on the internet, which kind of makes sense knowing what like Matt Haig's Instagram is like. So I'm not super into it. I don't know, I might just call the coffin covers a wash. Same with the buzzword reading challenge. I just don't know if I care enough to try to wrap my reading in a way to make it work for those 2 particular challenges. And maybe if I find something that I like later in the year, like I can retroactively fit it in, but I just don't know that I care. I'm also so bummed that Thief Flyer Lady doesn't have a clock on it. Because, like, it's Cinderella. It should have a clock. I don't know. I don't really know what I want to read now that I finished Animal Farm. So that might kind of be the project for today, is reading a bunch of things and trying to find something that I'm excited to read and that I really want to read, and not something that I'm just like reading just to be reading something. Like, I'd rather read something I'm super excited about. So that's probably going to be the job, the mission, the goal for today, instead of just all these things that are like, nah, not excited about it. It's just there. If you're participating in any of these reading challenges, like Buzzword, or if you're also in Jan's Patreon and doing coffin covers, let me know what you've picked for January's prompts, because I'm clearly struggling to find books that fit the prompts and that I also want to read. Because there are a lot of books that fit the prompts, but my desire to read them is just not there. Okay, I come bearing reading updates. So I ended up just deciding to reread The Lies of the Ajungo by Moses Osei for, which prompt was this for? For the Buzzword Reading Challenge. I've read this already a couple years ago. It's a 5-star. I really love this series. It's a novella series. They're super short, and it's from Tor, and the final book comes out this year. And this is like desert fantasy. I don't know. They're just fantastic. His writing is so good. These are such like small books, but they really pack a punch and are a really great example of how, like, if you're good with your word choices and you know how to weave a story, a short book can really get you. So I reread that, and then after some searching I discovered that there is a Kingfisher book that I haven't read that has a clock on the cover, so I started the audiobook for The Seventh Bride, which is some sort of retelling, but I don't remember which retelling. Can't remember if it's Snow Queen, but so far I really like it. It's very like quintessential Kingfisher. The cadence and the tone is reminding me of Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Our main character, Rhea, is 15, and she's the miller's daughter. I'm just thinking through all the fairy tales that have miller's daughters as main characters. Anyways, and she has been promised to wed this lord, and she is not excited about it at all, and she's kind of trying to figure out if there's a way to like get herself out of that situation. But yeah, so far it's a good time, and I didn't get any b-roll of it, but I played some Animal Crossing while listening to the beginning of this. So just having a chill, cozy day, which is great. And I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Yeah, I haven't decided. I've read a lot today, it feels like. And cold-wise, like, I feel better, but I also, the brain fog is kind of back, so focusing is kind of hard, and I'm not quite sure, like, what I want to do with the brain power that I have right now. If I want to read a little bit of Nona, if I want to, like, keep working on my reread for Deadly Education. I have a lot of rereads. If I want to pick a longer book off of my, it's Nona. If I want to pick a longer book off of my TBR to make some progress on, I don't know what I want to do. I guess I could just figure that out and then tell you what I decide to do later. I feel like I need a nap, but it's like 3:30, and I feel like if I nap, that'll throw me off for the rest of the day. I also don't know if I want coffee, because I already had a second cup of coffee today. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want. So I guess I'll go figure that out in the meantime. Hello everyone, happy Monday. Let me get the books. Let's go over progress that I've made in the last, I guess since yesterday, because I haven't really talked to you today, I don't think. I made progress on my Nona reread. As you saw, I listened to the chapters yesterday that I needed to then be able to listen to the corresponding podcast episode, and I'm halfway through the reading I need to do for the next episode, but like I said, this is just going to be like a slow, casual. I may finish this in January, this may stretch into February. I'm just taking my time with it. I'm not in any rush. And then I made a little bit more progress in Deadly Education. I listened to one chapter while I was making dinner last night, but that chapter was over an hour on audio. Like I said, these are long chapters, and it's great. Rereads are so great. I love to reread. And then I'm 50% of the way through The Seventh Bride by Kingfisher. I am not going to finish this in the video. I'm so sorry. I thought about really pushing to be able to finish it in time, but one of my resolutions, bookish-wise, for this year was that I wasn't going to make myself rush books just for content. So if you were wondering about my final thoughts on this one, it will definitely be in my January wrap-up. But I'll tell you right now, I'm really liking it. I really like Rhea. It's so funny, but also really gruesome. I think this came out before Kingfisher was publishing horror, and it's one of those books where it is so funny in some scenes and then so gruesome in others. And sometimes the humor and the horror elements overlap a little bit, and that's always fun because then you're laughing but also kind of nauseated at the same time. So I'm having a great time. It definitely leans in the fairy tale direction, but the horror elements keep it from being boring or feeling too cozy, which I think is my preference. Yeah, this is great. I did also order a physical copy that should get here, I think, by the end of the week. I'll probably finish it before the end of the week, but I'm having such a good time with it that I feel like this is one I'll reread eventually. And I just love Kingfisher. Also, I am starting to break out, so we're trying to get ahead of it. I do think I'm going to end the vlog here because I'm not going to finish anything. And it's Monday evening. Well, it's afternoon still, but I need to make dinner. I need a lesson plan for tomorrow. The Sunday scaries are setting in, even though it's Monday. I tried to be offline today, and I signed out of Instagram for a while, though if you want to follow me there, that's always linked down below. I will be getting back on eventually. I just need a couple days away from everybody shouting about their feelings. And yeah, and then after I've had a couple days away, I'll be back. But I did finish 3 books in this vlog, which is 3 books? Am I forgetting anything? No, it's 3 books. Okay, so I finished Animal Farm, which I gave 4 stars, and then Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, which I said at the time I was going to give 4.5. I actually think I'm going to lower it to a 4. I think the post-book serotonin contributed to the higher rating. And then I was also talking to my husband about these because he's 3 books behind, and we were kind of going through what happens in each of the books that he's read, trying to figure out where he had left off at. And compared to my ratings to other titles, I think this has to be a 4. And then, of course, I reread The Lies of the Ajungo, which is still a 5. Yeah, thank you for spending this cozy weekend for me. I hope you were able to find some coziness in the world these days. I feel like it's going to be a little hard to come by, but I'm really determined to learn how to manage my stress better this year. In all things, in all things. So if you want to leave a comment, of course, I would love to hear your thoughts about all these books. If you read anything over the weekend, I'd love to hear that too. Just anything you want to tell me. I'm always so thrilled to hear from you all. If you want to leave an emoji to let me know you were here, let's leave a turtle emoji. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye!